Guys, back at it. So, battery went dead again after I revived this battery, but I'm thinking it was my fault because I had the headlights on somehow. I don't even know how or why I did that, but last time I drove it, it was when I went and got gas, so maybe I just left it on. But got this cool little tester. Normally I do stuff the hard way, but here the past couple of years I've gotten some pretty good, you know, tools there. I probably have 1,000 of these multimeters, a bunch of different kinds and stuff. What I want to do here, get rid of all this. I like having the relays right here because they're closer in proximity to the fan and the engine ground and the battery. So I think I'm going to keep a relay center here. What I might do is, instead of using these, where they're kind of not protected against the elements, I actually have little relay boxes that are made to go under the hood that are more waterproof. Audio might have a little bit of wind because it's windy today, but I'm gonna clean up all this shit. I want to get it to where I can drive it and drive it reliably, so all that's got to go. I don't know what the fuck he was doing, but this ain't gonna work, so we're gonna redo it. Alright, so update, making progress. Got the relay distribution center in here. Got a new ballast resistor. Pulled these ground wires that are white for some reason off of the engine. We're gonna put that on the firewall. I got these cleaned up and got all the oxidation off of them and put a little bit of oil on them. That'll keep them from rusting again. Not the best thing to use. You want to use electrical grease, but I just don't have any right now. So, here's where I'm at. I still got to take this fuse panel out, and you can see this gom of wires down here. Now, some of this stuff was done by the previous owner, I believe. I'm not sure about these relays. They may go to this aftermarket air system they put in, because this isn't a factory air car. And then this might be an immobilizer. I did switch it once before and it didn't seem to do anything, so I gotta double check that. I'm gonna wire up this cigarette lighter for him and get the radio put in. Looks like it's a decent radio, but again, all these ones that, as my chickens are going at it in the background, all these ones that the face comes off, these contacts are always like a problem. Oh shit, oh, the horn works. Are always a problem. So I did notice the display wouldn't display correctly, so I'm gonna clean those up. Hopefully that'll work. If not, I'll put a different radio in here. Alright, so I found this. Now, this looks like it's going to the engine harness, right? And it's a thick wire. So that would have to be a ground, or it would have to be the wire that comes off your alternator. Because the other thick wires go to the starter going in a different direction. So we go over here and we look. Looks like the same fusible link that over here has been cut. And I don't know why. But right here, if you look, there's the other end of it going into the firewall. And there that is. It may be because it doesn't need an external voltage regulator. It's got an internal voltage regulator, so I might have severed it here and then tapped here. I don't know what happened that it got disconnected though. That's the odd part. But that would explain battery going dead and stuff too, when it's running at least, because this ain't even charging. So, found that. And then if we go in here, I've got the switch panel off, and I wanted to point out that, you know, there's all kinds of wires going into the fuse panel. And that's pretty typical in these cars when you find an old car someone else has been fooling around with, because the thing is, with the classic cars, the wiring harness is simple enough that people feel like they can work on them. and that's okay. But they end up doing stuff like this, and it's gonna put you at a high risk for a fire and a short and stuff like that. So leave your fuse panel unmolested, the factory one, if it's already in good shape and stuff, right? And there's not a bunch of cut wires. In this case, it's not. So it's almost like you leave the factory wiring harness alone. You disconnect stuff that you don't want to run off your factory harness. Like, for example, if I want to put in aftermarket lights and have its own relay, I'm going to do that, right? And that's where that aftermarket relay distribution center comes in. You can kind of do your own fusible links and relays and stuff. So this looks okay, whatever this is going to. The new flasher looks good. There's a bunch of these. If you don't know, there's a floor panel, a kick panel that goes on underneath, and it's metal on these old Furies, and it actually grounds on the panel itself, and that's where it gets its ground for the light. Now, I'm gonna probably leave those alone, but if it was me, A, I would try to fabricate or find the kick panels, but B, cut here and wire in a body ground and run some new lights. I don't know, if I have enough time I might do that for them, but a lot of these spade connectors and things like that's got to go. I got to figure out what this little micro switch is here that looks like a kill switch almost, but it may be something where they can override factory error, because if you don't know on these, a lot of times the way these are, and this one's all loose, it's just pointometers in there, a little cheap crap, but I believe the way these work is as soon as you start turning on, it just comes right on. And you may or may not like that, so that might have been what they were doing with that switch. And then the radio, I'll fix that. That's small potatoes. And then this is actually something I put in originally. This goes to this one of these receivers. I have a control box in here just for the lighting. I think it's this one. So these will be door actuators for the rear that may or may not still work. And same thing with this lights. I gotta check to see if that's still working. Might need a coin cell or something. But I'm gonna clean all this up. Already has a wire going to the amp. Already has a remote wire. Don't have to pull up the carpet for that. So we're in okay shape. Now why this was put in as a ground from the battery, I don't know, but I gotta figure out what's up with that. And then if you look under here, this isn't ideal, but that's better than nothing. I mean, at least they used screws that will conduct. It's just a quick dirty ground. I don't like it too much, but it'll be okay. And then of course up here, factory air was here. They cut a little thing here, and then over here you had your radio. And the way these radios are supposed to work is, if you don't know, because this car, if it did have a radio, I don't know what it was. I don't even see a harness back there, so it might not have had one. But there's supposed to be a bar that supports the radio. And these aftermarket things you put in here, they've got little ears you fold up, and it looks like somebody tried to do that, but it's just gonna flop around. So I'm gonna figure out something for that to make it nice and neat. Make sure the chassis of the radio has a ground. Clean these connectors, because anytime you have one of these, the connectors get dirty. There, clean that. I will put in a fusible link right here for this cigarette lighter, since he wants a cigarette lighter. And that's where I'm at right now. I was going to put this down here and just let you watch me wire and maybe do a hyperlapse or something, but it's kind of hard to set up a camera when your whole body is right here, and you know, your elbows deep in here, and you're trying to talk and actually show somebody, which it's just almost impossible. So I'm going to kind of give you like progressive updates as I'm going along and try to demonstrate what I've done, and then I'll clean it all up, and we get to see the finished results. So on to the next. So apparently I can't hold a camera and connect it at the same time, but you can see we're on. And this one's really neat. This is actually an older one, but it's nice when they have little local controls. And I didn't even remember, this is RGB. So this is going to be perfect, because I can run blue, even though it's not legal. Everybody does it anyway. And these are some of the older ones that have your tube instead of a laminate over the LEDs, but clearly they last a little longer. So now the real question is, Does this still work? Because that would be cool. I think it's this one. So, oh, it does. Look at that. Yeah, boy. And it's sequential. Dude, I forgot all about this. I wonder if the battery's a little weak. Look at this. You don't see that anymore. That's how you tell it's the old school here. Got the antenna on there. It's kind of neat, honestly. Yeah, there we go. Dang, son. I forgot I had a good one like this. All reverse. Dang, that's neat. Alright, so if you don't know, of course you wouldn't know, I used to keep this at like a purple color. I don't remember the controls on this thing. Let's try the ones that build into it. Mode. And it gives you kind of a, like a preview of what mode you're in here. What I want is like a constant on. Sheesh. How many modes this thing got? What I want is the correct color. Show you what used to be on here. Well, oh well.